Hi and welcome back. We're back at the cabin. Here you can see where all that raking I did got washed away from the rain that I had on the last trip. You can even see my tire tracks when I left. That was crazy then. And check out what the rain brought. From here you can see the light green ground covering. But probably what you can't see if you get up close, it's covered in little tiny yellow flowers. Isn't that amazing? Awesome. I only had a few piles of raked up goodness that I left last time, only because it was wet from the rain to clean up on this trip. And there's that door. I wish it was not such in pieces to be able to save it somehow, but it just disintegrated. So we got that wood and debris all cleaned up, and that was sad. I really wanted to keep it. And that's the before shot of what I think used to be the outhouse and the debris, and got that all cleaned up. Yeah, it's kind of want to keep it, but you know, got to move on to modern times. This is the last box of glass that I picked up. Not too bad. And yeah, it's pretty good. So all the dead branches I rolled up and tied up to be able to take to the dump soon. So we're getting there. We are getting there. So about 50 yards away, deep on the property, was this can. Now this can, it looks like an ordinary can until I put my foot next to it. This thing's huge, and it's sealed, and it's been out there for who knows how long. So I kind of pushed it with the shovel over to the pile because I was afraid if I lifted up it would explode, and who knows what's inside of it. I just love it out here, man. So gorgeous. So here's a shot of the sunset, and yeah, it was really good. I came in late in the afternoon and just in time to get that little bit cleaned up and watch that moon rise. Isn't that amazing? Just like the last trip, it starts out really orange. Anyhow, and you can tell we're kind of in the flight path, probably of Vegas or something. You can see the planes going by. But the sky is so clear out there. And then check this out. So I've been told not to feed or put out water for the wildlife because they know where their water is and they know how to get food. So what I did was I had chicken for dinner and I took the bones and rubbed them on the ground. Probably a bad thing to do as well, only because I wanted to get some animal shots for you, Mom. What do you think? Look at that coyote. So maybe a chunk fell off that bone there, but anyhow, they could smell it and they got in front of the camera and got some really good shots. These are the best shots I've ever gotten out there. And I'd say I'm probably, where my vehicle's parked, I'm probably 75 feet away where I set the camera, just out on the property. So yeah, there you go, Mom. There's your animals. I know how much you wanted to see them. And at the end here, these are this is a coyote for sure. But coming up, I think it's a fox. And now I sound really stupid, but I'm a city boy. Who knows? I don't really know my animals that well. Is that a fox right there? I think it is. I don't think it's a coyote. And there he goes again. I don't know. Mom, tell me what you think. I think it's a fox, right? Kit fox, probably. Anyhow, beautiful. Just beautiful. And this was early in the morning when the sun was coming up. Coming back for another sniff. Yeah. Look closely for a flash. What was that? Here it is again in slow motion. Wow, what is that? Is that practice at the 29 Palms Marine Base or another Tesla going up? I have no idea. So I'm back at another trip and got to unload the truck with all the tools and stuff because this trip is installing the water line. Woohoo! About 154 feet of water line needs to be installed. There's the path that I've already cleaned up on the previous trip out there. to get the water line to the cabin. And of course, I want a spigot in the front, and I also want a spigot in the back, so I'm going to make it a lot more complicated than I probably need to, but why not do it now instead of having to do it later? All right, so it's 104 feet from the meter to the actual cabin. And yeah, it needs to be, I think, 19 inches deep, but I'm not feeling like digging that much, so I rented a trencher. And this one makes it 24 inches deep, so that's even better. And that was a lot of work itself. You know, it's self-driven and all that, and it comes on its own little cute trailer, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, that was a lot of work pushing that. Well, it's self-driven, but trying to keep it straight on track, because every time I hit an underground rock, it liked to veer. So it was a slow and steady go. But hey, got the trenches done, and that's what it was all about. So amazing. There's the backside of the cabin for the rear spigot. And as you can see here, I got a little banana going on there, because it would hit a rock down below and start turning, and that thing was really heavy. Here I am laying the pipe. I had a good friend came out from Arizona to help me. Thank God he knows everything about all of this. He's done it a billion times. So with his expertise and guidance, we got the spigot in. Now just waiting for the glue to dry overnight. So here's some night shots, and yeah, sit back and enjoy for a minute. Hey Mom, check this out. That night we had some visitors. Once again, no food, no water out. They just come strolling by. I think it's so cool. So the next morning, the water department came out and determined that the original meter put in 2012 had never been used and it didn't work, so they had to put a new one in. And guess what? We got water. So next I decided to do a pressure test, and lo and behold, we had 110 pounds, which is a little excessive since the houses should be between 55 and 60. So a trip to Home Depot to get a pressure regulator valve, installed that, and now I set it at about 50 pounds, which is just ideal. So the water line to the cabin is set from the meter. Now it's time to start on the back side of the cabin for my second spigot. And so here I am laying out the pipe, getting it all set up and glued. Got the spigot right next to the cabin, and waiting for the glue to dry to give it a pressure test. And since I ran the line all the way from the meter, I decided to put another valve back here in the back side of the cabin for the future house. That way the water line is already run from the meter. It's about 154 feet of pipe, and hopefully, since it's there, put the valve in, and that way cut the costs down the road. And of course, after putting the spigot on the back side of the cabin, I decided, you know what, I liked it closer to the cabin, so I decided the front one had to be moved. So why not do it now, right? So I had to dig out another few feet of trench and move the pipe and put a T so I can have the spigot much closer to the cabin. And I think that'll work out better in the long run. And while I was at that, I decided to put an extra piece of pipe and another valve going to the front side of the cabin, because, you know, down the road I'm going to have my livestock water trough, which AKA is a pool. And so that's all ready to go, since the pipes and the holes were already dug, and let's just get it done, right? So I got that done as well. So it was very exciting. So here are some pictures of the backside of the cabin after the pipe was glued and dried, and made sure there's no leaks. That's where the new spigot is now, on the front of the cabin, and much closer. I think that came out much nicer. And then the next test is you just got to fill the trough or the ditch full of water and slowly bring in the sand so it all tightens it up nice and tight so you can drive over it. So the process is you fill up your trenches full of water and you slowly sift the sand in, and you keep filling full of water and sifting the sand in. That way it settles all down tight around the pipe. you know, as I said before, so you can drive over it. And it almost looks like it was never disturbed, kinda. But anyhow, it was a lot of hard work, but it was definitely worth it to have my 2 spigots. And now we can water and do things with water. Judging by the video, it looked all simple and smooth. Well, let me tell you, see this pile of rocks coming up right there? That was one big boulder underground that I had to use the mattocks to chop up into little bits and dig out of the trench. Just to give you an idea, there's one of the boulders that I had to pull out. So the good thing is those boulders will be used for my future firing, so I'll always know where they came from. They came from the trench. The strangest thing happened that night. After dinner, which consisted of Vaughn's chicken, pre-cooked, this German Shepherd showed up and didn't bark, didn't do anything. He just sniffed around for the crumbs, and then he just laid down and went to sleep. It was crazy. Spent a couple hours with us. He wouldn't let us get near him. We just watched him. It was awesome. So strange. And now that we have water, I bought a $7.50 100-foot hose from Home Depot. What do you think we did next? Yep, we watered. We watered every little plant we could find. There were some cool ones out there too that, you know, you just got to take the time to stop, look, and see. But the sad ones was these, I think they're called yuccas, and they can tell they needed water. So we soaked them and watered them. We'll see what happens. But yeah. It was fun.
Are you done watering the yard?
Now that the work was done and we got to play a little bit, Ryan spent his time out there looking for rocks and stuff, which is just fine. And we decided to, or I decided that Ryan needed to get up on the ladder and start figuring out the roof, because the next videos are going to be about putting on a roof to the shack so it can become a cabin. Yeah, that's a lot of measuring and thinking for sure. Well, thanks for hanging out and watching. Until the next video. Love you, Mom.